Flesh Tear, which is bleed stacks on critical hit, is almost always a direct upgrade to lacerate. The knife is a finesse weapon, which means if you are not hitting weak spots, preferably weak spot criticals, then you're kind of just wasting your time with it. And if you need a refresher, lacerate is 4 bleed stacks only on non-weak spot hits. Flesh Tear is 8 bleed stacks on critical hits. You can only stack bleed up to 16. 2 crits with Flesh Tear maxes out bleed stacks, whereas you need 4 hits with lacerate. 2 critical weak spot hits plus Flesh Tear is enough to kill most enemies. Whereas 4 body hits with lacerate is enough to kill most enemies. So you've already have the number of hits. So this makes your horde clear significantly better. And there's a synergy with this that I want to talk about in Spotlight specifically, and that is Uncanny Strike. But I'm going to actually showcase that with gameplay. Now, on the Zealot, I would make the argument that on Zealot, Flesh Tear is 99% of the time always a direct upgrade. Between the Charge, Blazing Piety, Scourge, any one of those on its own makes it an upgrade. Combining all 3 of them makes it 100% of the time an upgrade. Combining 2 of them makes it like 95% of the time an upgrade. But Veteran's Reciprocity node is arguably the best node in his entire tree. It's just 25% crit chance for most everything you're doing, most of the time. So I personally like to combine the knife with finesse, because finesse plus reciprocity plus crit chance on the knife plus veteran's high base crit chance means you're averaging some, like, I believe it's 60-ish% crit chance, which Flesh Tear is an upgrade as long as you have at least 40% crit chance. Even if you aren't critting every other hit, which would give Flesh Tear the same bleed application as lacerate, the damage increase from crits and crits weak spots on a high finesse weapon more than makes up for the 15 or so % lacking bleed that you get from applying it every 2 hits as opposed to every hit. Now, to show you what this is like with some gameplay, I need my friend the Crusher here. Now, you can see, this is an effective kill time on these guys, even without Uncanny Strike. So, allow me to show you what this is like with Uncanny Strike, because this is noticeably good with Uncanny Strike. One problem that I do not know what just happened with I don't know what keys I was hitting there, sorry. But, Uncanny Strike does mean you can't use Finesse, which means your crit chance goes down. However, it kind of makes up for it by the fact that you just do so much more damage. Now, while I personally prefer Finesse for the horde clear aspect as well, I cannot deny that Uncanny Strike makes Flesh Tear even better than Lacerate, which it already is. If you can't build a knife like this. I'm sorry, you just can't. You're basically dedicating 1 blessing to fighting Crushers and 1 blessing to fighting hordes and bosses. But at that point, why not just do this and build crits, which will make it better? Honestly, a knife with, like, reciprocity and crits, unironically, you'd probably get more damage just doing this. Because critical weak spots with constant crits from Riposte will probably just end up giving you better horde clear than Lacerate's body swipes, taking 4 swipes to proc the bleed. Because something I think a lot of people don't understand is bleed is just kind of fucking bad until you build a lot of it. So to show you, this is with Lacerate and Uncanny Strike. So we do one bleed, and it's effectively nothing. We do 2 hits, and that's with a crit. 2 bleeds is enough to kill 1 guy, but not enough on the cleave. So you can see how this is this is just really underwhelming. Because you have to avoid hitting their head. Now, there's no way for me to, without putting in a bunch of effort or doing a little bit of video editing, neither of which I really want to do for this, but with the ability to hit the critical hits, and reciprocity, and Flesh Tear, you can focus on hitting the weak spot. Whereas, a critical weak spot hit, if it'll allow me to hit one, is almost enough on its own to just straight up kill these guys. See, this is the air. I don't want to turn the AI on because I don't want to dodge everything. But yeah, right there. So, all it takes is a single critical headshot with, with Flesh Tear to kill enemies in the horde. So, if you do something like that, those guys all die. So when you're fighting the Horde, you just straight up turn on your auto melee and just start doing this, and every single hit is just another Horde enemy dead. And when you consider your constant damage buffs from dodging, it gives you constant one-shot Horde potential.